Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Monday, May 5th, 2014. A strong earthquake has rattled northern Thailand this morning. It was a magnitude 6.0. It struck about 17 miles southwest of the town called Chiang Rai and was felt in Bangkok. The area is up near the border with Laos and Myanmar and is largely an agricultural area. There have been no reports of any damage or injuries, although goods were knocked off shelves in stores and things. There was also a very strong earthquake, a 6.2 in Tokyo on Monday morning, their time. It struck at 5:18 a.m. It's a three-day weekend in Japan, as well as in most of Europe, for that matter, bank holidays today. This earthquake that struck Tokyo, the epicenter was near Izu Oshima Island, south of the city. It was the strongest earthquake since the 9.0 to hit Tokyo since March of 2011. The train system in Japan immediately shut down as a failsafe. 7 people were injured, no reports of any deaths. There was a long interview in today's Royal Gazette being printed out of Hamilton, Bermuda, conducted by Jonathan Kent. The subject of the interview was Chris O'Kane, the chairman of Aspen. Mr. O'Kane was being interviewed by Jonathan Kent about his views of the proposed takeover by Endurance. O'Kane was quite firm, saying that the proposal is extremely unattractive, it grossly undervalues Aspen, is highly conditional, and raises serious issues, none of which Endurance has addressed. He said he would anticipate significant dis-synergies from a combination with Endurance. Not least among them would be a material loss of business and corresponding revenues due to the considerable business and client overlap in both the reinsurance and insurance segments of the two companies. He also reminded Kent that we have the capital, scale, and underwriting expertise to remain an important player in this industry. Scale for the sake of scale is no substitute for these attributes and is not a reason to pursue a business combination with Endurance. They are standing firm. A ship sank, a container ship sank off the waters of Hong Kong earlier today. 11 crew members are still missing. 1 crew member was in fact rescued. The 320-foot Zhang Jin 2, carrying cement and also registered in mainland China, is suspected to have sunk after colliding with a 985-foot ship, the MOL Motivator. Helicopters and search planes from Hong Kong are trying to locate any of the other missing seamen. Yesterday afternoon in Providence, Rhode Island, there was an accident at the Ringling Bros Barnum and Bailey Circus, the Blue Tour. There are 2 tours every year, the Red Tour and the Blue Tour. This was the blue one. 9 aerial performers were seriously injured during a circus show when apparently a metal frame failed and they ended up falling about 40 feet. No fatalities. 3 of the performers remain in critical condition. The circus has canceled performances yesterday and today in Rhode Island. However, it's anticipated that the remaining tour of the Blue Show, including here in Trenton, New Jersey, will go on. Regarding Malaysia Flight 370, an international panel of experts has assembled in Australia today for 2 days. They're going over all the data to re-examine it to ensure that they have been looking in the right place. Malaysia, Australia, and Chinese officials have met now to hash out the details of the next steps in the search for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. The data will be reanalyzed and combined with all information gathered thus far in the search. That search, of course, has not turned up a single piece of debris, despite crews scouring more than 4.6 million square kilometers of the search area. The head of the search team from Australia, Angus Houston, said the underwater search is likely to drag on for at least a year. Deadly explosion this morning ripped through 2 passenger buses in Nairobi, Kenya, the capital of the country, killing at least 3 people. Police are treating the incident as a terrorist attack. The buses were on the Thika Highway, one near the Safari Park Hotel and the other one near the Homeland Inn. Berkshire Hathaway's operating profits fell 6.6% for the first quarter of this year, down to $3.5 billion. Analysts had been expecting a consensus forecast of $2,172 a share. They came in at $2,149, The group's underwriting business reported an underwriting profit that almost dropped 50% from the previous year, down to $901 million. It went from down to $461 million in the first quarter. Of course, Mr. Buffett has confirmed that they are not going to write business if the premium rates are unattractive. Part of the drop-off in underwriting profits also was influenced heavily by foreign exchange movement during the year. Despite that, Mr. Buffett shrugged off concerns about his conglomerate. This past weekend in Omaha was the annual Capitalism Fest, or whatever it's become to called, in which Mr. Buffett and his vice chairman, 90-year-old Charlie Munger, entertained 30,000 shareholders who come to Omaha every year. This year was no exception. Bill Gates was present. A number of other people were present. Mr. Buffett said that investors need not be surprised that Berkshire's results have trailed the S&P 500 index last year. There's been grumblings about that. The S&P has exceeded the Berkshire performance for 4 of the past 5 years. Buffett said, "We will underperform in very strong years. It's not a tragedy that you succeed so much that future returns go down. That's success. The massive size of Berkshire makes it impossible to match the investment gains that the company delivered decades ago." Speaking of that size, Berkshire owns about 80 subsidiaries, including clothing, furniture, and jewelry firms. Its insurance and utility business typically account for more than half of the company's net income. It also has major investments in Wells Fargo and in Coca-Cola. Berkshire will keep looking for possible acquisitions, possibly large ones, to boost profits and use some of its about $49 billion in cash. Buffett reiterated that he'd be willing to sell stocks or even take on more debt if he needed to make a quality acquisition. He said, quote, "If we see a really good $50 billion acquisition, we'll find a way to do it." There'll be more to come on that. Apparently they had a newspaper toss, I guess going back to when Mr. Buffett was a newspaper delivery boy, and Mr. Gates participated in a newspaper toss. No result yet as to who won. Tonight in the United States and in England, Jack Bauer, i.e. Kiefer Sutherland, returns for another season of 24. It's a 2-hour special beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.